I've got a ton of questions up here. Many of them are overlapping, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different groups up here. We'll let some of you have some gubernatorial candidates have your lieutenant governor candidates with you. We'll let you guys decide who's going to field the question. But the first question, I think, is pretty important. And it says, how many black and brown people do you have paid staff on your campaign? And let's start over here with Mr. O'Neill and Ms. Lewis.
Well, it's obvious the top of the team is African American. Let's start with that. Chantelle has Manziel works for her, and he's our Cuyahoga County coordinator. Who else do we have?
We have exactly 15 volunteers that are in various diverse background ethnicities. So it's 15 that works within the state with us.
Okay. Mr. Cordray and or Ms. Sutton.
So we have 3 co-chairs of our campaign. One of them is a man named Ben Espy, who some of you may know was the former Democratic leader in the Ohio Senate and Columbus City Council member. He is one of our 3 co-chairs. We have senior strategist Danny Palmore from Columbus. She has worked with me on many campaigns and done tremendous outreach work around the state. Our political director is Nelson Devison, formerly of the Ohio Democratic Party. Many of you may know Nelson. My executive assistant, who travels with me everywhere and is my eyes and ears and introduces me to everyone, is Will Washington, who's with me today over here. We have many volunteers from across the state who are working with us. We're proud to be endorsed by Congresswoman Marcia Fudge from Cleveland with her tremendous respect and standing in the community. And we have, as you have seen in our advertising perhaps, we have the encouragement and support of President Barack Obama, who is encouraging our efforts in this campaign.
Thank you. Mr. Schiavoni?
Yeah, thank you very much. Currently, we have 5 paid staffers working throughout the state. 1 is African American. As the minority leader in the Ohio Senate, we had 3 out of 8 full-time employees at the State House that were African Americans under our hiring, working throughout the state to make sure that when we transition into the general, that we will have people ready to move from internship positions to full paid staffers. We have a pipeline for that and we're ready to roll. I'll tell you all that I've been traveling the state talking about, as the next governor, establishing an Office of Diversity Inclusion so that it's not just talk, that you have people in seats that can make those decisions, right? So you have people when we're talking about business contracts, you have people when we're talking about education, when we're talking about transportation, housing, all of the things that matter in urban communities, that we have people ready to go to sit in those seats in decision-making roles. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Mr. Kucinich or Ms. Samples?
I am honored to take this question. The Kucinich campaign, we have 8 African-American paid staffers out of 14. We have over 100 volunteers. Most of those volunteers are African-American in the Northeast Ohio area. The one thing that I think is important for people to know, not only do we have an inclusive and a diverse staff and volunteers, Congressman's time as mayor in the 70s, most of his top key cabinet positions went to African Americans. So if he did it in the 70s, I have no doubt that he'll do it in 2019.
Thank you very much. The next question, we'll start back at this end and go this way. And the next question is, do you support the immediate passage of a $15 per hour minimum wage increase or other amount?
Well, not only do we support it and have made it a central part of our campaign, but all of our campaign staffers, I mean, this is a test, are making at least $15 an hour. So, because if you want to talk the talk, you better walk the walk. And we do, at every level. Thank you.
Mr. Schiavoni?
Yes, last month in the State House, I proposed a bill with Representative Kelly from Cincinnati to start the minimum wage at $12 next year and go 50-cent increments until we get to 15. I think that that's a way that we can get that ball rolling. We can start having conversations, get business ready for that change. In the meantime, while we're giving our people an increase in pay, we're going to invest in small business so that we can deal with that impact. You know, I'm not worried about Walmart and Dick's, but some of the smaller mom and shop businesses, we need to invest in them at the same time we're investing in our people, and that way we have a community that works for everybody.
Thank you. Rich and I do support a $15 minimum wage as soon as possible, no later than 2025. We supported also in 2006, obviously, the last time that we raised the minimum wage. It has been far too long. When I got to Congress, one of the first things we did was we raised the minimum wage. It had been a decade, not a nickel, not a dime, not a penny, that the Republicans had put forward to help our families out there. There are also a lot of inequities in the way that people are paid. We know that we just passed Equal Pay Day this week, and the disparity between the pay between men and women in this state is not acceptable, and for African American women and Latina women, it is even worse. But we also know that there are disparities in income with Black families in America earning only $57.30 for every $100 of income earned by white families. There is much work to do. Rich Cordray and I are prepared to do it, and we look forward to that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge and/or Ms. Lewis.
Thank you. You know, as I said before, you gotta judge people by what they do, not by what they say. Out in the back of the auditorium, you'll see there's O'Neill brochures. We started this campaign 4 months ago. $15 minimum wage is on our brochure right from the beginning, and that's because I feel very deeply, it is outrageous that we have an entire class of people in America that are not sharing the American dream. There's just no question about it, that if you're making $8 an hour, you've got to put together 2 to 3 jobs to put a roof over your head. I'm a former restaurant owner. I started out as a dishwasher in Athens, Ohio, and then I sat on the Supreme Court of Ohio. There is no question that $15 an hour is the right thing to do, but as an economic issue, you give an employee who's making $8 an hour today, $15 an hour tomorrow. On Saturday, he will go out, or she will go out, and they will buy a Jeep Wrangler built in Toledo, Ohio. There is just no question. You put the money into the bottom of the economy, and it percolates up. And I have to make an amendment, by the way, to keep me out of trouble. I don't want this to get to Columbus. We just received a new African-American coordinator from Columbus, Ohio, by the name of Michael Roberts, who's from AFSCME Council 8. He and I were together on the picket lines 40 years ago. He's on our staff. If he finds out I didn't mention him as an African-American, I'm in big trouble. So please keep your things to yourself. And Manziel, you got to stand up. You have to stand up, sir. I see you there. Don't be shy. There's our Cuyahoga County Coordinator just got here. Welcome, Manziel Baker.
Thank you, Judge.